Hello everyone, in this video you are going to learn two things. How to set up a local MCP server and a local MCP client. I assume that you know why MCP is useful and what are its benefits. There is another video in my YouTube channel that you can find which explains MCP better. So let's go straight to the code, and I'm setting up first the MCP server that I'm going to use fast MCP as the library for creation of the server. So here I'm creating the MCP first, and as you know, MCP is having three components, which are tools, resources, and the prompts. So I'm using really simple examples that you can find also online. So the first tool that I'm describing is a greet function, which is getting a name and returning out hello name, you're awesome. Then we are having also other tools such as adding function, which is adding two numbers together, but for showing better the output result, I'm adding an extra 10 as the constant. I have defined another tool which is multiplication of two numbers, and here I have added again extra 10 in order to differentiate the output as well. And here we have also a prompt which is getting a style, and it is like having three styles such as friendly, format, and casual. But since I'm not using the prompt specifically, I'm not going to explain it that much. So how we can run the MCP server? There are multiple ways. One of the way is that through the run function. So you have to call MCP run, and we have to specify that we want to use HTTP protocol for running, and this is the local host that I want to run and also specific port. So let me run the file, and okay, as you can see here, it is giving me some output such as we are using the fast MCP version 2, and the server URL is this one, and like the documentation and so on. Well, you are able to deploy also your MCP server to the fast MCP as well, but we are not covering it in this video. So let me click on this. Well, you're not seeing the output specifically here, but just to show you here, this is the local calls with the /MCP, and it shows me what is the output, which is giving an error. That's fine. So let's go to the MCP client. So for the MCP client, first I'm importing async IO, which is helping me to do the asynchronous call to my server. And then from MCP library, I'm going to import the client, and here I'm defining where is the URL of my client, which is localhost with a specifying of the port and then a /MCP. Now we have the part that I have to call the tools. So I'm going to call the tool which is the greeting that I need a name as the string input. So here I'm calling the client.call tool, which the name is greet, and the arguments which I am passing is the name. So I'm expecting a name as the parameter to the call tool function. Here I have also adding another function which is about adding two numbers. So I'm again calling like client.call tool. The name of the tool is this one, and the arguments which I'm passing are A and B. So in order to call these functions, I'm writing async io.run and then call tool, which is the name of this function, and passing the parameters of the name, which is Ford. And then I'm printing out the structure content.get. If not, you can see like what is the unstructured output. And this is also for calling the second tool. So for executing this client, the simple way that you can do it is just run it. And let's wait for the result. As you can see, the output is hello Ford, you're awesome. and then 25 is the adding the number 5 and 10. And if you remember, I added extra 10 to differentiate it from normal adding. So here I forget to include the print, else it's not giving me the full output. So you can see why I just get the structure content. And this is the full return, which is an object which includes multiple output. And I'm just focusing on the structure content. So this is one way how you can call your MCP server. Then you can use also Cloud Desktop, or you can use the cursor in order to call my server. How to add the MCP server to the cursor? First, you have to open your cursor, obviously, and then find the settings. So let's go to the cursor setting. Here I'm searching for MCP, and I'm going to add the new MCP server. As you can see, I have added before another server, which is the Notion one that I have used in another video, so you can check it out, how to use Notion as the server. I found it interesting, but what I want to do is adding my local MCP as extra server. So here is the name, and this is the URL that it needs to be called. So it should be good enough. So let's Control S and save it. And as you can see, automatically it detects how many tools and prompt it is available on the server to be used, which is a good sign. So as you see, this is enabled. If not, for example, you see that the Notion API is disabled. So just to be sure that it is showing you a green light. If it finds some errors, you will see a red light here. So I'm going to, well, we can leave this as it is and then use the chat. So what I'm going to tell to in the chat is like, greet to Fred, use local MCP tools. So it's writing its own thinking, which is I will greet Fred using the local MCP tools. So I have to run this one. And as you can see, the response is, hello Fred, you're awesome. Well, we are having it here. Hello Fred, the local MCP tool says you're awesome. So let's call the multiply function. Multiply 2 and 50. Use tools from local MCP. And I have to run this. And as we can see here, the result of multiplying 2 and 50 is 1000. That, if you remember, I added extra 10 in order to differentiate it from local, not local, the normal multiplications. And we can do this again, add 2 and 50, use MCP tools. I didn't specify the name of MCP, so let's see which is correct, because 2 and 50 is 52, plus 10 is 62. Very good. So I hope that in this video you have learned how to run your MCP servers locally, and I have showed you two ways, which is one using the cursor and the other one is calling straightly your MCP server tools or functions. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and see you